Hello everyone, my name is Karel Kubicek, and with the team of people from ETH Zurich, we studied how our website sending marketing emails and if they collect for it proper consent. Maybe you've seen an email account full of emails like this. And this is directly a problem, of course, for the users, but indirectly also for the marketers because the users are unsubscribing. When they investigated the reasons for unsubscribing of users, they found that among the most common is that users don't remember ever subscribing to such services. Does it mean that they really just don't remember where they subscribed to, or does it mean that the service actually shared the email addresses to third parties? This is something that we will also show in this study. Since it is a problem, it is regulated. Namely, in European Union, there are two laws. ePrivacy Directive, which requires opt-in. That is the reason why we are seeing now checkboxes for agreeing with sending marketing emails. And then GDPR, the General Data Privacy Regulation, which describes how consent should be given. And the goal of this study is to create a data set and analyze by that how are websites compliant with these regulations. We annotated data set by registering to websites. As a source of websites, we took Alexa top 1 million list and we geometrically sampled it. And then for each of the sampled websites, we registered their using unique email address. Our 7 legal annotators were registering to the websites using this annotator interface. And it looks like follows. So, for example, this website is asking here for date of birth, which corresponds to the legal requirement of collecting the age. Then it is asking for consent for marketing emails. Therefore, the annotator marks that consent is present. It is done by checkbox, but this checkbox is not pre-checked or forced or checked by user. Lastly, before the registration, user agrees with the terms and conditions and privacy policy. This is not by a checkbox, this is implicit, so it is forced agreement with privacy policy and terms and conditions. Every website was annotated twice, and the Cohen's kappa for measuring the inter-annotator agreement was 74%. If that is not enough, for those that disagreed, for those annotations that disagreed, we repeated and resolved the annotation by a third annotator. All this procedure applied to 1,000 websites resulted in 666 successful registrations. From that, we got 568 websites that were sending us any emails. The first 5,000 emails that we received, we annotated as marketing or servicing with some subcategories. Let's look at the subcategories. So servicing emails are those that are only for the purpose of interaction with the service, while marketing are for monetization. But when we register, there is a double opt-in procedure that is the best practice to check not only the consent during the registration, but also checking that you are indeed holding the email address such that you cannot register for someone else. That is very recommended. Also, it comes out of the law, and it is followed by roughly 60% of websites. However, more than 1/3 of websites is sending only confirmation of the registration. So there is no check that the email address is really owned by the registrant. But what is the most critical is that 5.5% of websites are sending directly marketing emails without any servicing information before that. We are very conservative in this study and we mark only the last situation as a potential violation, while the more than 1/3 of websites we leave in the gray zone here. Other insight was from the content of the emails. So we observed that more than 15% of websites were missing legal notice, that is information about the company. And we also noticed that 3.5% of websites were not providing users any option to unsubscribe from the emails. Another insight from the content is that when users registered and provided password, 2.3% of websites were sending the password in plain text inside of the mail. Mail, the SMTP protocol, is not encrypted, and also it signalizes the chance that actually the website is handling the data, not accordingly to the best practices. So that is violation of the GDPR requirement for using the security practices, the Article 32. And because it's not encrypted, also any other authentication methods that are going through the emails were possible to hijack. But again, we are not flagging this as a potential violation. We also investigated if the websites are sharing the email address with third party. So in majority of cases, this is not happening, but we investigated when we were receiving emails from multiple different domains. Also, often it's just that the second level domain is different, but only in 4.1% the domain of senders really was different. So then we investigated in detail how was it disclosed. Often this was clearly that the website is belonging to the company. So for example, facebookmail.com is sending emails for Facebook. In other cases, it was disclosed in the registration form, which is also fine. What is not that okay is when they disclose it only in the privacy policy or terms and conditions, because it's well known that users are not reading these materials. We also found one website that did not disclose it at all, but we found connection to the other sender. So we found that they belong to the same umbrella company. And in the remaining cases, these were websites where we did not manage to find any information that would disclose the email sharing. In one of the cases, the website was breached and the credential leaked, but in the remaining cases, we really have no reason why the email address was shared. And let's put this into context. Previous studies by Matur et al. Studied the US presidential campaigns, and there the leakage was around 7% higher than our observation. And that, I would also say, is a positive contribution of the European regulations. I think that this is free because we have stronger privacy laws. Based on the annotated properties and based on receiving emails, we were able to design a decision procedure which says whether there is a potential violation of the consent or not. So we study only websites that are sending marketing emails, and then we check if the website was asking for any consent. If not, it means that the ePrivacy Directive requirement of opt-in is violated. Then we check if the website only purpose was actually sending newsletters, and if yes, then this is valid because it is clear from the form that we are going to receive newsletters. But if not, then we need to evaluate GDPR requirements. So GDPR consent requirements is that it has to be specific, freely given, unambiguous, and informed. And by our legal properties, we are able to detect when this is not met. So for example, if there is no checkbox, then it's not specific. We are not really aware what we are consenting to. And if any of these properties were violated, it means that the consent is not valid consent under GDPR requirements. In the remaining case, since we asked all the annotators to not consent to the marketing emails at all, but since we are receiving emails, it also means that we are receiving emails despite no consent was given. So that cannot even be a situation when we would, for example, be forced to consent, because then it would not be free consent. But it is really a situation that there is a checkbox, we left it unchecked, and we are still receiving emails, marketing emails. This slide then summarizes our observations. So these 5 potential violations are in the emails, and these are of the consent procedure. Then here it is aggregated to the number of violations by website. So the green bar does not necessarily say that these websites are compliant. They are just missing these types of violations that we were observing. Also keep in mind that we were really conservative with all the measures. So for example, already in the no single opt-in, we decided to only the situation when there was immediately marketing email classify as potential violation, but there were like 1/3 of websites that were only sending confirmation emails. So really the study is trying to be conservative as possible. Our future work plans to automate this whole procedure. So to do that, we need to automate the classification of the legal properties. And the proof of concept was already presented in our work. And then second part is automating the registration procedure. For that, we are implementing crawler that is able to register to websites. Then, when we have that and we observe some violations, we want to cooperate with data protection authorities to provide them such automated tools to scale up their analysis of websites and enforcement. The conclusions are that we designed legal taxonomy and decision procedure based on these legal properties that decides whether a website is having a potential violation or not. We applied this to 1,000 websites that we annotated, and based on the annotations, we analyzed them and reported 7 types of potential violations found on 21.9% of websites. These are again the authors. On this website, you can find any information to this work and summary, and also there is form for access of the dataset. Thank you for your attention. Have a nice day.